Welcome to Thoroughbred 360, insights, stories and strategy from the commercial world of thoroughbred racing with your host, Bruce Slade. Welcome to episode 35, everybody. Of course, the first week of August. We've had August the 1st, we've had the horses' birthdays, them all turning a year old, and of course that means foals are now hitting the deck. The breeding season is upon us on the 1st September, and the good racing is so close. The spring is so close. Of course, we've seen some nice horses at the trials already, and there's a real feeling of excitement about the warmer weather coming and the better racing coming. That feeling of excitement was in the air at Adrian Bott and Gay Waterhouse's Breakfast with the Stars on Sunday morning. I was lucky enough to make the trip down to Randwick. Great turnout, 200 people. Let me talk you through the event a little bit. So guests arrived, owners of the stable arrived. They walk through the Randwick tunnel out into the middle where, of course, the training tower is. As they walked up into the middle of Randwick, they, of course, were greeted by Emma Coleman, Sean Cooper with the name tags. From there, they rolled on. To the right, there was coffee, egg and bacon, rolls. Of course, the event kicking off at 7 o'clock, so a great breakfast type event. On the left-hand side, there was the yogurt cups, followed by the mimosas, the orange juice, the waters. Just a great spread for a turnout of, as I said, about a couple of hundred people. And then from the middle of Randwick, with using a speaker, Gay and Adrian on the mic, along with myself, Emma Coleman, Sean Cooper, plenty of different guests in and out talking on the mic. And we got to see a number of the key spring contenders for the Tulloch Lodge stable. We saw the older horses, the likes of Sir Delius and Vauban, Bella Montagna, Campbell-Dino, heading towards, of course, the Cups races. We got to see the 3-year-old Colts Revengeance on a Golden Rose path. Our Emperor heading towards the Coolmore. We got to see the fillies, the likes of By Choice and Miss Chanel and Stardom and Tomato Toasty, and the 3-year-old fillies heading towards the Princess Series, and of course big stakes races for 3-year-olds right through the Spring Carnival. And finally, we got to see the new season 2-year-olds for the Tulloch Lodge team. Of course, Gay and Adrian have won 2 of the last 3 Breeders' Plates. They've won 2 of the last 4 Gym Cracks. They've won the last 2 Golden Gifts. So they really have had a stranglehold on these early 2-year-old feature races, and we were able to see a number of their most forward 2-year-olds. Of course, just 7 weeks out now from those first 2-year-old trials. So just a great morning. Thank you to everyone that was there, because it just made for a really, not only was the sun up, was it warm, where the horses just behaved immaculately, but the people were all in great spirits. And as I said, we left there thinking, wow, how exciting the spring to come. The other thing that really got me thinking, got me excited, got me, I guess, filled with responsibility in a way, was just, I guess, filled with gratitude, but also responsibility, was just talking through with everyone the opportunities available this spring. Just the spring, the racing in Australia, the prize money we have on offer is just unbelievable. It is for the world to be, it is the envy of the world. Think about a $20 million Everest. Think about a $10 million a Melbourne Cup, a $10 million Golden Eagle, a $6 million Cox Plate, a $6 million Caulfield Cup, a $5 million King Charles. You know, you've got a $2 million Golden Rose, a $2 million 5 Diamonds for 5-year-olds. You've got a $2 million Invitation. You've got $3 million each for the Champion Stakes, the Champions Mile, the Champion Sprint, a heap of other $1 million plus races, and a number I would have missed here, of course, because in Australia we're lucky enough to have over $100 million plus races now in Australia, and $1 million race on average every 3.3 days, which is just incredible. So that was the gratitude side of things. The responsibility side of things was, of course, you know, there with Adrian Gay and our team, and that team was about, you know, the how we get, you know, our supporters, our clients, our owners to those races with the right horses. And that comes down to obviously breeding them, selecting them, developing them and training them. So that is on us as people that are professionals in the game. But yeah, certainly if you can find the right horse, gee whiz, they can run for plenty of prize money, and more so than anything, plenty of fun. The biggest thing coming out of Sunday morning, outside of the riches to race for, outside of the hope and dreams of where your horse might be or might get to, was the camaraderie, the meeting of other owners, the ability to get out of bed early on a Sunday morning. Some people getting up at 4 or 5 a.m. to get there, to make the effort to get down to Randwick, share a drink, share some food, share some conversation, share a bit of nice social time. And that, of course, is one of the huge value adds that racing brings to people's lives. And that is a big part of the satisfaction I get from my role in the thoroughbred industry. Of course, the star of the show for Gay and Adrian was Sir Delius, and I can tell you firsthand that horse, not only was his trial terrific last week, but Sir Delius has returned in terrific form. He looks unbelievable, big, strong, a magnificent type, but his coat's right. He's moving well, and all the reports from Gay, from Adrian, from all the riders and all the team there at Tulloch Lodge is that Sir Delius is in for a big spring, touch wood. He stays sound and stays happy mentally and physically. Of course, the new season brings with it a refresh, a start of something new, everything to play for. It's that ability to just reset and really focus in on achieving your very, very best in the next 12 months. But before we dive into the new season, it's also that time to reflect and pat ourselves on the back for what was done well, and also cheer on those champions that were the tippy top of each division, whether they be the jockey, the trainer, the breeder, or of course the mighty horses. And the champion Australian Horse of the Year is going to be an intriguing contest, I think, between Sir Delius and of course Autumn Glow. But talking commercially from a breeding point of view, I thought we should roll through each of the premierships very quickly and just talk about how they played out, who was on top, why they were on top, and how that might look moving forward. We'll kick off in New Zealand, where Tiakau, Mark Walker, Sam Burgesson were the leading trainers of New Zealand this season with 135 wins. That is the 7th consecutive year that Tiakau trainers have been at the top of proceedings there in New Zealand. And I've mentioned before in this podcast just the impact that Tiakau, David and Karen Fenellis have on the New Zealand game is profound, not only from that ability to go and buy yearlings on spec and then get owners involved in them, which takes a huge amount of courage, of risk, and of course a huge amount of work to get done, but the success speaks for themselves. And well done to all the Tangerine team there in New Zealand, of course, top again, like I say, for the 7th consecutive season. Second, Tony Pike, the very good trainer. Tony, another big season, and Robert Wellwood and Roger James, that training partnership, rolling into 3rd in New Zealand. On the stallion side of things, Price here, another big season, the 2nd time he's been crowned champion sire. Again, he has got his biggest, best crops from the biggest overseas coming through, so expect that name, Price here, to lead that New Zealand champion sires premiership a few more times to come going forward as well. Savabeel, the ill-fated Savabeel, 2nd, and a clear leader by individual stakes winners was Savabeel. And now, of course, he has passed. It is now on us, all of us, to look towards his daughters. We've seen it time and time again, and we'll talk through, champion sire O'Reilly was champion broodmare sire this time in New Zealand this season. And that, of course, we see over and over again. These champion sires down the line make the champion broodmare sires, and therefore Savabeel and Priceer in time too will be terrific sires to target the daughters of. In terms of the first season sires, that was won by Home Affairs, and he of course won in Australia there too. So big season for Home Affairs, cleaning up both those titles. And champion 2-year-old sire went to Russian Revolution on the back of his Group 1 winning unbeaten champion 2-year-old Lara Antipova, who we are very excited to see campaign in Melbourne through the spring from all accounts. Mark Walker commenting on that through the week. In Australia, champion sire honours went to Snitzel. He won the title again this year. Of course, ill-fated Snitzel, and he has won, as I've mentioned, just on the likes of Savabeel Now that he's gone, it is just on us to get the advantage by using Schnitzel daughters going forward and obviously breeding them accordingly to, of course, add value to our bloodstock portfolios. But Schnitzel, he beat out Zoostar, who, again, with champion sire last year, another big season from that young son of Northern Meteor at Widden. Of course, Zoostar, just with his numbers coming through, with the aging population of all the horses he was taking on before, with the size and quality of crops he's got coming through, he is a stallion that's not, if he's not going to be winning, the next 5 years champion side titles, he's certainly going to be a horse that'll be fighting them out. In the top 5, of course, there was also the Autumn Sun, Autumn Glow, Autumn Boy, big contributors to that. But he's a horse that does get, success at a wide range of distance profiles, and with his bigger crops coming and his bigger crops, to come through in time, he's a horse that you expect to be right in champion sire title calculations at some point in time. The only thing he does have is a couple of small crops coming through that will impact his short-term ability to maybe go all the way. Street Boss was in there too. Again, a horse that through our first year of podcasts came up so much. Street Boss had a big season, tempted Tentaris, Pericles, etc., 4 Group 1 winners this season. So he had a huge year. Vinny keeps doing the job, and again, a lovely horse you'd love to keep finding fillies by. I'm Invincible. So that was the 5. Again, Schnitzel, Vinny, Street Boss, of course, the older brigade, Zoostar, as I said, predicting him being a champion sire a few more times in the next 5 to 10 years. And the Autumn Sun, maybe in the short term, maybe held back from winning the title, but a horse that'll be right in the mix long term. By winners, the race, of course, came down to the last day of the season, and that was between Capitalist and Zoostar. They fought it out. They both went in with 169 individual winners on the last day of the season, and it was nice to see Capitalist with wearing my Newgate hat to just get the job done. He's such a terrific sire. He's a sire that this year has won that title. It's a prestigious title. It's a very hard thing to achieve that many winners, and people say, oh, it's just winners. But, the stallions that have won that premiership in the last 10 years have been held between 3 horses. It's been Zoostar, it's been Schnitzel, and it's been I'm Invincible. And so it's lovely for Capitalist to be included with a group of horses like that. And they are the 4 stallions that have won the premiership by individual winners in the last 10 years. But Capitalist also leading active sire for Australia in Hong Kong this year as well. A top 10 sire by earnings, a top 10 sire by individual stakes winners. So another big season put away for Capitalist, and he's great value at $40,000 plus GST. On the 2-year-old front, we discussed Home Affairs. I thought we saw a lovely group of first crop horses this year, many with still plenty of runners to come. But hats off to Home Affairs, number 1. A Golden Slipper winner in his first crop. Just sensational. Guest House, a magnificent horse too, and a horse that'll be very exciting come this spring as a 3-year-old as well. But a huge number of just individual winners, a huge number of individual stakes winners across Australasia. Stakes horses was very high. Just a horse that, you talk to trainer and jockey, they are big, strong, powerful, great attitudes, big constitutions. Kind of horses that you can work hard and they come back for more and more and more, very much in that sort of Danehill line mentality where you can just hard knocking, no nonsense, no fuss, easy to do anything with kind of horses. And that, of course, will see them thrive in so many different training environments. And the harder you work them and the better they bounce back, the fitter you can get the horses. And that, of course, will lead to elite success down the track. On the broodmare sire front, of course, I mentioned before, our leading sires become our leading broodmare sires, and it's as simple as that when you're trying to find, high probability broodmares. The broodmare sire table looked like this: Fastnet Rock, Reduced Choice, Exceed and Excel, Schnitzel, Lonro, Street Cry, More Than Ready, and Costa de Lago. Just household names, proper colonial speed horses that have, of course, now showing their influence through their daughters at stud. On the second season size, we've got a really nice group of horses here. Of course, Bivouac had a flashing finish to his season. 6 stakes winners for him. Of course, a Group 1 Oaks winner, a Group 1 Golden Rose winner, 2 Group 1 winners this season. So Bivouac, a big job there to overcome Wootton Bassett late now. No, Wootton Bassett has passed away, but we do have the benefit of having sons and daughters of his in Australasia now, which is terrific. Thanks to Coolmore bringing him down. Just again showing this season in Europe and in Australia what a top class horse he is, and in New Zealand, I should say too. But just touching on this group of second crop size, a really strong group. Like Ole Kirk as well, doing a great job in that group. Farnan, the likes of Ninja came back and trialled Enormous. The likes of Castillo King coming through for him. And then the couple of Yulong horses, Tagaloa and Lucky Vega, doing a really nice job too. So a really deep group of second crop size. And I miss Gaeth as well, who might be the best of them all, particularly at a middle distance. Just a tremendous stallion from a very limited opportunity in Australia, but also a horse doing a big job in Europe there too, with a fresh Group 1 winner there. Sorry, a fresh Group winner there through the week. So yeah, nice group of second crop horses in Australia this year as well. Now, as we look forward, of course, we've got the next group, the next first crop. So all the first crop horses from last year, the likes of Home Affairs and Stay Inside and Wild Ruler, heading into their second season at stud now. The first crop horses of this year, an intriguing battle. Animo, of course, in this group of horses, which makes it probably the most interesting first crop sire group in a long time because of just the anticipation around the first crop of Animo heading to the races. We did do a piece on our socials last week on this. Of course, Hitotsu has the most number of living foals from his first crop, 119, followed by Animo and Artorias on 111 apiece, then Jacquino at 109, and in the Congo at 100. They were the horses that all have 100 or more live foals in their first crop, and again in their first crops, and that'll be a really, really interesting race this season. Very excited to see the first crop of those sires hitting Australian tracks. Of course, Saturday, that was the 1st of August, it marked the first Metro Saturday meeting all around the country, and it was headlined, of course, by the Group 3 Aurie Star Stakes. Now, the result, not so much of a game changer, but it was great to see, of course, the Queenslanders head down there. Tony Gollan, the Queensland's premier trainer, taking Boomtown Boss for the Archer Park crew down to Flemington to run up the straight. Beautifully placed, beautifully trained. Great owners, Archer Park. The Chris Vessels, Mark McLean do such a great job for the industry, not only putting their own money in, but also bringing on a whole group of owners and just giving them a terrific racing experience. So nice to see success for the Queenslanders down there in Melbourne. But I suppose what I want to highlight was the fact that Boomtown Boss, of course, by Spirit of Boom. And the loss of Spirit of Boom for Eureka, for Queensland, has been the biggest change in the landscape in the Queensland industry for a long, long time. He leaves a very big void to fill, and I thought it was mega interesting that the McAlpine family have decided to take on Graf to sort of help fill that void. Now, Graf, of course, we've had luck with ourselves, using the grafter burners on our Sunlight slot, Gate Adrian Sunlight slot this year, and geez, a smart horse, a real star sprinter, got the Sunlight job done for us. Of course, the Queensland horse winning a feature $3 million Queensland race, and he is by Graf. Now, I had a look at Graf's stats. He's had 58 runners, half of them have won, and he's had the likes of Grafter Burners, the likes of Royal Chic, and a number of other Metro winners. But that's just scratching the surface. You see, the McAlpine family have a lot on the line here. So the decision to stand Graf would have been very well considered, and they would have been methodical in the way they went about looking at his data, looking where they were winning, looking at the types he was leaving, looking at who was buying them, look at how many have gotten to Hong Kong, etc., to make sure that their huge amount of resources that it takes to support a horse like Graf with their own mares, with clients' mares, with their relationships with breakers and trainers and traders, their value add to all those people in that chain will have to come from Graf. But in a lot of work at ensuring Graf is a great shot of continuing that Eureka legacy, that brand of, good, fast, sound horses coming from that terrific nursery on the Darling Downs. And a quick touch on the South Island of New Zealand to finish off the racing segment. It was great to see the Winter Cup on Saturday won by Anna Furlong. Now, Anna and myself used to work with each other at Paul Thistle's when we were both still at high school, in fairness. So well done to Anna. Great to see her win a big cup feature there on our home track, that Riccarton track. Of course, Anna went on to train and stayed in the South Island. And again, like I say, we used to work together at Paul Thistle's way back, and great to see Anna make her own way in the industry and now a multiple group winning trainer. And it was great this week to have Jack Stewart in town here on the Gold Coast. He was, of course, over here getting some sunshine before heading back to White Robe Lodge, their family stud, to kick off the breeding season. But it was great to hear from Jack. Not only hear from Jack because he is fourth generation White Robe Lodge on the Tyree Plains, but just hearing Jack talk about, the South Island farmers who are all jumping into syndicates to race horses down there, to hear Jack talking about, getting over 100 mares to the young horse Alpha Lale in his first season, possibly getting even more to that young Dark Angel Group 2 winner in his second season, and just hearing Jack, just again following on the family footsteps, carrying on the thoroughbred breeding game in the South Island. Of course, we've got the Wigleys there as well, through Annabelle and Ollie Tootles, Beaufort, and these Inglewood studs. So, the families are continuing, but great to hear that not only they're getting mares to stallions, but a lot of people down there racing horses, enjoying their racing. Of course, the springtime, all roads lead to Canterbury, Christchurch, Riccarton for their Cup week. Of course, the 1,000 guineas, the 2,000 guineas, the New Zealand Cup for both the gallopers and, of course, in the harness too. Well, that brings a close to episode 35. Thank you, everyone, for listening. It's been a terrific season. I was literally on the plane coming back home this evening, and I just was scrolling through my photos, and it's just incredible what happens in 12 months. And sometimes you just have to sit there and go back and just be so grateful for where you've been, what you've seen, what you've achieved, and also maybe what you haven't achieved, which might drive you to bigger and better things in the coming season. I encourage you all to sit down, write your goals, write your intentions, just get something down on a bit of paper. It helps me a hell of a lot in terms of being really direct, in terms of really chasing that improvement, that further success down the track. So I'll be doing that. I'll be sitting down and writing my goals for the new season. I'd encourage you to do the same. Have a great week all, and let's get it.